Hey everyone, I'm Ron Johnson. This is Locked On Sports Minnesota. It's the Friday Roundtable. We got Reggie Wilson, we got Luke Inman, and we got Sam Ekstrom, the producer who does it all. But it's a Friday, and for the everydayers that know, Monday is a mission Monday. I'm always on a mission for something. Tuesday, I didn't testify this week. So maybe I'll throw that in later today. Might have to testify. It might be a testify Tuesday on a Friday, but on a Friday, just let me find out. Let me find out for those that don't know. In my culture, it's petty. Like you're basically saying, let me find out you weren't where you're supposed to be when you said you were going to be there. That's what my mom would say. Let me find out you left the house when you weren't supposed to leave the house. It's petty, but it's also it's a way to get a conversation started. And on this Let Me Find Out Friday, we got to get locked in on this show. So Luke, what you got?
Yeah, let's get locked in first and foremost on the Twins after that tough matchup with the Dodgers over on the West Coast. But let me find out, Ron, is Jordan Love actually as good as all these Packer fans say he is?
Sam?
The top 25 college football coaches have been ranked by CBS Sports. Luke Fickell is ahead of PJ Fleck?
Oh,
let me find out.
Oh, Reggie.
I mean, he kind of has a little bit more success. Anyway.
Oh, my God.
But let me find out. Let me find out. The Lakers waited all the way. They waited until they got all the way to the conference finals for us to find out that they are fraudulent.
Well, I appreciate your fraudulentness, Lakers, because you got me paid on FanDuel. Appreciate that no sweat first bet for $150. Just put $5 in, and you're going to get unlocked. It's going to unlock right there on your app. And it unlocked for me, and I put it on the Nuggets, 5.5. Why? Because the Lakers, they might be tired. I am a Bron fan. I'm an Anthony Davis fan, but I don't know. But you know what? That's not what I'm going to talk about today. I'm not going to put the needle in Reggie right now. I'm going to wait till later. But let me find out that somebody from the Vikings went a little bit faster than they were supposed to with this Dalvin Cook Twitter banner because it just doesn't feel right. But let me find out. But you know what? This episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of Locked On. Just go to FanDuel.com/Locked On to make every moment more. And remember, the earlier the better, because I got in the line at 5.5. As Luke pointed out, I think on Thursday's show, it ended up jumping to 6.5. And if I had taken the 6.5, I would have lost. I would have lost my no sweat first bet, but I got the 5.5. Lakers lost by 6. Denver covered. So I got my money. And what should I do with it on a Friday? Probably spend it on my daughter. But hey, fellas, let's get going. Let's get started on the show. Everybody gets $5. Let's get going, fellas. Let's jump out there with the Twins, man. Luke, what's going on?
Yeah, I thought it was maybe that first loss, that 7-3 tough loss, kind of an unconventional approach to the bullpen. You're up 1 in the 5th. You bring in D'Lo, and then he gets in trouble. And then Emilio Pagan, who's always so hot and cold. We remember that last year with the bases juiced. He gives up the grand slam, and that's your ball game. And I know there was some atrocious calls in this series that didn't go the Twins' way, but you just hope that kind of stuff balances out throughout the long season. And honestly, at the end of the day, you're facing such a dominant Dodgers team who's one of the best in the league at home, 17-7 record in Dodger Stadium. And despite all the BS that we dealt with all weekend long, I think you feel fine taking 1 out of 3 and saying it is what it is, moving on to Anaheim and just trying to survive this West Coast trip before you come back home for 10 of your next 13. So not how you wanted it to look by any means, Ron, but I don't think it's a big backbreaker in the big picture. I think they'll be fine because at least we saw a sliver of life, if nothing else, from the bats and some names they've needed to step up, which gives a little bit of hope for the future.
What you got, Sam?
Yeah, I think that Ron's Dodgers softball team could offer better clutch hitting than the Twins have offered up so far. The numbers
Shout out to Mission Fast
circulating.
Pitch and Eden Prairie. Yeah, good job, Sam.
I mean, yeah, they're champions. The bases loaded situation is out of control. They are 0 for 7 this year with the bases loaded and nobody out, and they are 5 for 40 with the bases loaded in any situation. That is unacceptable. You have to put the ball in play. Way too many strikeouts, way too many feeble pop-ups. Advance the runners. If there's nobody out and the bases are loaded, if you hit into a double play, you score a run. But somehow the Twins can continually bungle these situations. So I need to see more clutch hitting from some of these bats in the middle, like Correa is still going to get my ire until he turns it around. But I did like the way they battled in LA for 3 games. They didn't look overmatched. They just were not very clutch.
And Sam, to your point, just real quick, their average with runners in scoring position isn't bad. It's like middle of the pack. Imagine how much better that would be if they could just score and get some clutch hits with the bases juiced. It's crazy. You're right.
Yeah, Reggie, what you got?
So that same Dodgers team got beat 16-8 by my Cardinals last night. Urias gave up 4 home runs in 1 inning to the Cardinals. And they had a 7-run inning later in the game after the Dodgers made it close. And so this was my thing with the Dodgers. They are beatable. The Twins showed that they could play with anybody this season, and they can beat anybody this season. But they can also show that they can beat themselves. And I think that's something that we've seen time and time again. Fans were just upset that you put Emilio Pagan in another one of those like high leverage, stressful situations. And he hadn't given up a home run up until that point this year, but find time to give up a home run, a grand slam that really was just the backbreaker in that game. I think I saw a 3-game series that the Twins had a chance to win at least 2 of them, and they squandered their opportunities. That bases loaded, no out situation, that thing is going to haunt them. And I don't know if they have any answers for that. They just have to find a way to make something happen to get the bats going some kind of way. Maybe they can do it against the Angels tonight.
Yeah, it's when it comes to the bats, you gotta find. Did you say Angels in the outfield?
Yeah, that's the only thing that's going to help them. Is
have you seen that movie?
The one
though?
movie Sam
have you
seen that? I respect it.
Yeah, McConaughey.
Okay.
Star-studded cast. Yep.
Okay. I was wondering
Joseph
if you'd actually
Gordon-Levitt.
seen that one though, because all of a sudden you see all the Angels fans start doing this, and then it's like, oh, there's an Angel still out there. Like, no, but when you look at the Twins, the one thing I'll say really quick, it's you're right. It's about the bats, and Sam, to your point, batting is contagious. I have noticed that with my daughter's softball team and just watching like Gophers softball even. Like I'm excited the Gophers start their trek today. I had Autumn Peace on Big Ten Pitcher of the Year, and she even talked about it. It's all about a mindset. PJ talks about this, the Farmers Alliance. I don't know if PJ needs to go talk to the Twins, but the Farmers Alliance, I never really actually understood it. I know PJ always says that, like, we got to have a Farmers Alliance. We got to have a necktie mentality, blah, blah. Like I know the shark one is never stop swimming, always hungry. But the Farmers Alliance just talked about a grain of corn. There's one bad grain of corn and the wind blows, it can screw up the entire crop because that thing can blow anywhere and plant and then just screw up the whole crop. And so when it comes to the bats, everybody has to get onto the plate knowing, I just got to put this thing in play. Like Luke said, I got to find a way to get the bats going. I got to, like, if this guy hits and the next guy hits, guys have to talk to each other too. Hey, the pitcher's doing this when he does this. At 12 seconds, be ready for this. Like if he's late in the count, is like all that kind of stuff is what makes a team great, I think that's going to be key for this Twins team. I'm not saying cheat because I know I've seen that with the Houston Astros. We're not saying go there, but there's ways to help your teammates out at the plate from what you've seen. But you know what? We got to jump into the next topic. And Sam, what you got, man? Because I'm hearing a lot of consternation on the Twitterverse and comments and everything about this top 25 coaches, and then Deion Sanders not in the top 25. What's going on?
Deion not in the top 50. So CBS Sports ranked the top 70 or so college football coaches, and they revealed their top 25 yesterday. PJ Fleck comes in at number 24. Now, Ron, we knew this list was coming out. You predicted, I think, 18 or 21.
Yep.
Comes in at 24.
Disrespectful.
Other Big Ten coaches. Brett Bielema, 21.
No swagger.
Penn State, James Franklin, 10.
I get it.
Luke Fickell, 9. Hasn't coached a game for Wisconsin, 9th.
NIL. That's an NIL put in. They put him in because of NIL.
Ryan Day, 8th.
Born on 3rd.
Jim Harbaugh, 5th.
Earned it.
And that's it. So he's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th, or no, 6th. The 6th ranked Big Ten coach. I kind of think it's fair, actually, to be honest with you. I think that of a 14-team conference, the Gophers are routinely kind of in that, like, just better than middle. They're kind of in the upper third of the conference, but they're never really elite. To use a PJ Fleck word, I think I agree with 6th. I don't know if I agree with Luke Fickell being 9th, but hey, he had a lot of success at Cincinnati. Reggie clearly feels strongly about that. But I think that 6 is about right. Now, it's hard for me to compare PJ Fleck to like the Kansas coach or the Texas A&M, Jimbo Fisher or Mike Norvell with Florida State. I don't know anything about Mike Norvell, but what do you think, Ron?
Yeah, so I'll start this off. This is the one thing I'll say. When you look at the whole setup of the way this list goes, it's going off, you're right, past success. Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State have been the top of the top, but they're all on the East. That's the entire East. And so then when you go to the West, Wisconsin, we'll see. Now, Luke Fickell, yes, really good at Cincinnati, but he was in the Conference USA. He hasn't had to face Big Ten teams every single week. He hasn't had to play the best of the best.
This is the AAC, Ron.
Sorry, they're not Conference USA anymore. My bad. I'm super old.
They were never Conference. No, I'm just
were they not? They weren't.
This is a long time ago.
Okay. I'm like, man, I didn't even know. So
it's been a while. Probably
been a
since
while.
You were in college.
I don't even pay attention to Cincinnati. That's how much I know about them. But no, I like Luke Fickell. I was gonna be a Cincinnati fan because my cousin was gonna go there. Like he had committed to Cincinnati to Luke Fickell. He fell in love with Luke Fickell. Also, the fact that he's going to be able to play baseball. Well, now he's going to Wisconsin. I don't know about the baseball thing, but he's going to Wisconsin because clearly he trusts in Luke Fickell. So when you think about the whole situation with this coaching, PJ Fleck being the third best coach, Bielema, Illinois had a good season. Fickell, I mean, he's had past success. Wisconsin's been good, but the Gophers did beat them. They beat them 2 out of the last 3 times. I think the one question mark has been Kirk Ferentz. People are like, oh, how's Kirk Ferentz not, in the top 25, at least 25, or how's he not in front of PJ? Well, overall, Iowa's boring. The nepotism is a question mark for him that he should have fired his son a long time ago. If there's any other offensive coordinator that has the worst offense in America, they're fired, but it's your son. So you still like your wife and you want her to spend the night with you because if you fire her baby, you're probably not going to be able to come home. So I do like it. I think PJ Fleck, I thought should have been a little bit higher, but I get you can't put it. I thought maybe 22 then. Like if Bielema's 21, then PJ should be 22. That's just my thoughts. I don't know. What do you think, Luke?
Yeah, Ron, you hit a lot of it right on the head. Crazy that primetime. What'd you say, Sam? Isn't it even in the top 50? Is that what you mentioned?
55th. Yeah.
That's wild, man. It's funny. I pulled this list up, or so I thought, and I was like, dang, Jim Harbaugh 23, Ferentz 17, Franklin 13, Pat Fitzgerald 8. Turns out I was looking at the 2021 preseason ranking. And it's just funny because it just goes to show how much can change from year to year in college football. So I thought just to see PJ so consistent in these top 25 rankings these last few years, something you love to see. Honestly, it's exactly what this program needed when he got here. The stability, some consistency at the head coaching position. Guys won, 24 Big Ten games, I think, in 5 years. Mm-hmm. Rock solid. And he's really raised the floor now, the standards of this team in a huge way. And, some people love him. Some people hate him. I think the Gophers program is just lucky to have him in the first place. If you were to tell Gophers fans 10 years ago, hey, you're going to have a head coach where he's consistently in the preseason rankings, in the head coaching rankings, I should say, in the top 25, they would take that in a heartbeat. So I think the best is still yet to come. And if we could just maybe fans can just trust the process as we start this new era post Tanner Morgan now with some big time recruits coming in, I think people should be pretty excited.
Yeah, Reggie, what you got?
I'm excited to see what PJ does moving forward, especially now adding Luke Fickell to the mix. Luke Fickell is a college football playoff head coach. Mm-hmm. And now, look, it happened, Ron. It happened.
It did.
Okay? It happened. They didn't have enough. We saw what happened to them, but they played hard. Cincinnati played hard. He had them there. And so, but I think this is going to be a big challenge for him, going to a different conference. He was going to be in the Big 12 if he stayed at Cincinnati. Now he comes over to the Big 10 where he was bred. And so I think that matchup between Wisconsin and Minnesota is going to be very interesting moving forward, especially if Fickell gets Wisconsin to the level that he wants to get them to, and Minnesota just continues to climb. As you said, Luke, post Tanner Morgan, and they continue to get these good recruits in and are more relevant every year. I think what I want to see from PJ, and maybe this is why he has not gotten to that next level that maybe Ron is looking for, is more meaningful wins.
Yeah.
It's going to be a interesting case now about the playoff with the expansion and all that. So he has a chance to get Minnesota in the mix. And if he does that, then I think he definitely ups the profile even more, and kind of puts him into that upper echelon of coaches.
Yeah, I'd say, Reggie, you're right. I'm glad you told me it was the AAC, because I'm looking at these teams and I'm even going. I think Luke Fickell should be a lot lower. You got Tulane, UCF, Cincinnati, SMU, Houston, Navy, East Carolina, Memphis, Tulsa, Temple, and South Florida. That literally sounds like I don't know if you guys have been to Bubba Gump's at the Mall of America, but it reminds me of a bucket of boat trash. Like really, really good options within that to eat and fry it up.
Lit last year, okay? Don't sleep on Tulsa.
Like really good options in there. Like, Cincinnati could be like the Lobster. You got Memphis and basketball. They could be like the Shrimp. You got UCF. Their football was pretty good. They could be like the Calamari. But then you got the trash. Like, and so that's like Temple. Like, come on. Like, I don't know. So we'll see how Luke Fickell does when you got to go up against Penn State, Michigan State, Minnesota, Iowa. Like, I want to see, can Luke get it done 9? And fun fact, the Big Ten has just voted. They are going to probably say you don't need to have a non-conference game with some of those lower divisions, because they understand how important it is for strength of schedule now. And so I think next year, my guess is because UCLA and USC, because everybody's going to want to add them to their schedule in the Big Ten. And so the Big Ten is going to vote this year. And my guess is they're going to pass it with flying colors, that if you want to have 10 to 11 Big Ten games, go for it. And I think that's what's going to happen, because USC and UCLA, everybody wants a piece of them coming to the Big Ten. UCLA and USC want a big time schedule. So they want every Big Ten team on their list early. And they want to do away with the other, not say crappy teams. We do know those teams make a lot of money by coming to play the Big Ten teams. But now at this point, Ohio State's like, why do I have to play Villanova? Like, can I just go play USC and UCLA as my two quote unquote non-conferences? We're in the East and they're in the West now. So it'll be fun to see.
Hey, Ron, question really quick. So do we know what the realignment is going to be with those two teams? Because they obviously would be West teams, but that would make an unbalanced conference. So how are they going to do the divisions?
Yeah, I think they're gonna paper, scissors, rock and kick out Illinois. No, I think when you look at the East, because we know Brett Bielema, he's always gonna pick paper, because he's just dumb. He's just every day paper. It's a stupid TikTok for those that haven't seen it. It's this dude that does like paper, scissors, rock with his girl, and they're betting stuff, and this idiot picks paper every single time. So it has to be a bit, because I'm like, people are literally commenting like, dude, just pick rock. Like, she's going to do scissors. Like, he keeps doing paper and she does paper. Then he does paper. She does paper. And he's like, oh, she might do rock. So I'm going to do paper again. And she does scissors. It's like, dude, pick a different one. Like, he's the dumbest dude I've ever seen in my life. So it's got to be a bit. It's got to be a bit, because it's pissing everybody off with his stupid paper, scissors, rock. And that reminds me of Brett Bielema. I feel like he would just go paper every time, because he's like, I don't know, paper. Like, what paper? It's paper, scissors, and rock. So I want to go with number 1, paper. But yeah, I think one of the teams on the East, which is going to be Purdue or Illinois, my guess Illinois, because they're closer to Ohio, would be out. And then I think right, Indiana. I think Ohio's closer. I'm guessing that Ohio's a little bit more east than Indiana, right? I think so.
Reggie used to live in Ohio.
Geographically, Ron, yes.
Boom! I know it. I knew I could see my map. I knew I could see it. But yeah, I think Ohio, Illinois, because then Chicago is closer to Michigan, so on and so forth. So that travel aspect, Illinois getting over to Penn State. Illinois to me felt like an East team from the start anyway. They don't feel like they should be in the West. So I just think that's a natural, like, all right. And then the Bulls are in the East. Like, come on now. But they should go over to the East. And then that puts 7 over there. And then the 2 new teams come to make the 7 in the West with UCLA and USC, which is going to be tough for Minnesota and Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa are going to suffer, because they're going to have to deal with USC and UCLA every year now. And USC now with NIL, Bronny is going to help recruit football now too, playing basketball. LeBron's going to be there recruiting football for USC. So, man, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. And Lincoln Riley has money now out there, and he got it done in Oklahoma. He's going to get it done for sure, USC. But my guess is that's it, Sam. I think those two will go west, and then Illinois will go east. That's just my guess.
Mm-hmm. All right. So it's not going to be a cakewalk in the Big Ten West anymore.
Heck no. No, and I think that's the purpose. It has been. It's been pretty simple, and there's no big-time game, like teams, Michigan or Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, nothing against them. I love them. I think Luke Fickell maybe adds to the Wisconsin allure, but Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State, those are your TV teams. Those are your big time TV teams. So now I think you add USC and UCLA to the other side, and now you possibly could have a Big Ten championship, and this is what they want: USC and Michigan or USC and Ohio State. That's a big time Big Ten championship game that everybody's going to want to cover and watch. So yeah, it'll be very interesting. And Ohio State just lost the number one recruit they had lock, stock, and barrel, and he's going to Georgia now. Of course, he's going to Georgia. So it's not looking great in Ohio State because he's like, man, nobody likes Ohio State quarterbacks. I might need to just go to Georgia, even though Stetson Bennett. Come on, buddy. Anyway, moving on. Got a word from our sponsors.
Yeah, it's a Built Bar day on Locked On Sports Minnesota. Let me tell you about the best tasting protein bar in the world. It's Built. You gotta try them. It's a healthy snack that does not compromise on taste. You can get the Built Bars or the Built Puffs in store now at Walmart or Sam's Club. Go to the pharmacy section and pick up these 100% real dark chocolate protein bars. They're healthy and they taste amazing. And the macros are incredible. Low calorie count, 130 calories, low sugar, 4 grams, high in protein, 17 grams of protein. I don't know how they pull it off, but they do it every single time. You can also get the specialty flavors at Built.com, have them shipped directly to your door. Head to Walmart, head to Sam's Club, head to Built.com, and get some Built Bars today. You can thank me later.
On this Let Me Find Out Friday, I got to be petty. Let me find out somebody in the social media team for the Vikings screwed up. Here's where I go with this. We saw the Dalvin Cook banner. It was Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkins, and Kirk Cousins. All of a sudden, in the dark of night, just like most NFL owners, when they leave a team, like the Browns going to the Baltimore Ravens, they changed Alexander Mattison to the banner as one of the top 4 players on the team from a marketing standpoint. Now, I don't know why. I don't know if they were told to do it. I don't know if they just saw the Dalvin Cook tweet about contract and we want Dalvin Cook here, but we need him to take a pay cut. Maybe they just went cowboy and did themselves. Either way, it doesn't feel right to me because Dalvin Cook is still a part of the team. And so if he does come back, do you put him back on the banner? Do you admit that you did this or do you have to ride out the season with Alexander Mattison and just be like, look, we meant to do that. Like Dalvin Cook's on our team, but we meant to do that. We like Alexander. He's so cool. I don't know. It's not sitting right with me. Like something's not right with how they did that because it's not done yet. So maybe there's an internal text of everybody say, hey, it's the writing's on the wall. Dalvin Cook does not want to restructure. So they're trying to trade him now. So let's prepare. Prepare means create the banner, but wait. Somebody hit send too soon, but that's just my thoughts. I don't know. What do you think, Reggie?
Yeah, this whole thing is just kind of bizarre. And the more it goes on, the more it just doesn't seem like things are going to go in the right direction. I mean, as you pointed out, there's no really coming back from the whole banner thing. It's like, I don't know, like after you have a decision and maybe he stays, then you just make Dalvin your whole banner. It's like, hey, we were just playing. Hey, look at Dalvin. Look at him representing Minnesota, like, I don't know if that's the answer there, but here's my thing, you guys, like now that they've made all these moves and created all this cap space and now they have all but one of their draft picks signed, unless you're just like using this money that you're going to maybe sign someone else or put some extensions in place, why not keep Dalvin? I think I kind of understand Dalvin Cook's logic. He's like, well, like, yeah, last year maybe wasn't the most efficient year, but I still had over 1,000 yards. I played in every game of the season for the first time in my career. Why should I take a pay cut? Because it's the end thing to do to not pay a running back. You guys committed this money to me a few years ago. honor your commitment. I don't want to take a pay cut. I'm still young. I'm still, in my prime. I shouldn't have to take a pay cut right now. My production didn't dip like an Ezekiel Elliott last season. So what's up? You guys have the money. Why do you guys just want to be cheap with me now?
Right.
No, it's a fair question, Reg. Like, nobody's ever going to argue Dalvin Cook is top 5 in the league. He is so special when he's on. But I think KOC, you mentioned, okay, he was a little inefficient. He was very inefficient at some key categories last year. I think KOC, first-year head coach, all right, first year's over. Let me look back now that the dust has settled. Where do we have to get better? I'm supposed to be the offensive guy. How can I sharpen this offense even more so? Dalvin, tied for the league lead in fumbles lost, led the league in runs for no gain or less, third to last in total EPA. And I think he said, I need more consistency and efficiency on first and second down. There are far too many 3rd and 13s for Kirk Cousins and this offensive line last year. And between clearing up the cap space and then moving to a running back, by committee rotation, I think this move was set in motion the day the season ended. I think about all the big moves that they made, right? So many big names, fan favorites that they cut. Think about Adam Thielen. Everybody got up in arms going, why didn't Thielen take a pay cut just to stay here? Who says they offered Adam Thielen a pay cut? I think they knew they were going to clear a lot of this cap space from the get-go, and they knew guys like Thielen and Dalvin Cook were not going to be on the team next year in 2023. And, the fun fact, too, I mean, this isn't necessarily a bad thing as much as we love Dalvin if you're trying to win a Super Bowl, because this is the blueprint now. Here's the leading rushers from the last few Super Bowls: Pacheco, Cam Akers, Leonard Fournette, Damian Williams, Sony Michel, CJ Anderson. So, I mean, the proof is there as much as we love Dalvin. I think they need that money, though, Reg, to spread out to some more important positions, whether it's this year or next year, and extend those key guys like we've always talked about, TJ and JJ this year, and then hopefully Darius on next year as well.
Yeah, Sam, what you think?
Yeah. Firstly, who is keeping these receipts about what the banner was and what the banner is now?
I know. I had to go back. I couldn't even find what the old one looked like.
Yeah. Well, like, it's the same people that will tweet out, oh my goodness, Danielle Hunter just unfollowed 5 of his Vikings teammates. How do you know that? Who's keeping track of like who blocked who like wiped their Instagram profile?
Some real sickos out there.
I don't get it. But there was some interesting commentary at Pro Football Talk yesterday. Like, we've been thinking that June 1st is kind of the deadline that they're waiting to cut him by. But it was pointed out on Pro Football Talk that they could have cut him early and designated it as post June 1. So that's not what's holding them back. What could be holding them back is that if they trade him post June 1, I think they actually maximize the cap savings. Someone pointed that out. So maybe there's a handshake agreement in place that he's going to be dealt, but they got to wait until June 1st. I don't know. It's all very confusing and kind of unorthodox. You don't see a player of Dalvin Cook's caliber held in limbo like this very often. If there is indeed a trade in place, I'm very curious to see if they're taking on the contract, if the Vikings are taking on some of the contract, what the compensation is. And could the Vikings just be loading up on day 3 draft picks here with the za'darius trade and the Dalvin trade? We'll see.
Yeah, who knows? I know Danielle Hunter, he scrubbed his Instagram and now he turned the comments off. So, he doesn't even want people commenting on the one picture he left up. He put he has that on there. Same with Dalvin Cook. He still has 4, but he has walk by faith in his pictures. I mean, he does have the NFC North champs picture up there with his teammates. He has his Pro Bowl picture up there. But he's kind of, taking a lot of his pictures. All his stuff is Pro Bowl. He has his Pro Bowl, like he has 1, 2, 3, 4 Pro Bowl pictures up here. Nothing in a purple jersey, though. I will say that. Like the NFC North champs is just the well, yep, there it is. This is the second picture. Third. Yeah, so he has 2 Vikings pictures up there. But I think scrubbing your Instagram is not always a bad thing. I think the older people don't realize the Gen Z, because we keep calling them millennials. They're not millennials, they're Gen Z. But the Gen Zers, it's about having 9 pictures. I don't know what it is. Like, just like rappers now are having 9 songs. When I was growing up, and Reggie, you remember this, Biggie Smalls had a 2 disc with like 16 songs per disc. Dude, Biggie was giving us 32 of the Hot Fire. Now these dudes is putting out 7 to 9 songs. Like Lil Uzi Vert, his song literally just says, that's it. Like it just goes like it's repeated that twice
right there.
It repeats that twice.
We got to loop that. We got to edit that.
Like that's it. Like that's all. And it's playing in clubs. Like the song starts and people come running out. So that's just what we just don't understand these kids nowadays. And scrubbing your Instagram, I guess, is just part of life. I don't know if I have time to even sit there and go through my Instagram and try to figure out what pictures to take off. But we got to move into a topic that's near and dear to my heart. Because FanDuel.com, you made me a believer. You made me pay attention to the Denver Nuggets. You made us all think it was just Jokic. And it's not just Jokic. It's KCP. It's Murray. I mean, Bruce Brown? What? Bruce Brown is ripping LeBron James to end a game? What? That dude's going to tell that story for the rest of his life. On my way to the championship, I ripped LeBron and we won the game. Like the story gonna change though. The story gonna change. Like they was down, like the Lakers was down 3, and if he didn't rip that, LeBron was about to shoot the fade back 3 and do the I stopped all that, grandkids. Like that's gonna be Bruce Brown's story. Because by the time he has grandkids, like our video 4K is gonna look stupid. They're gonna have 1,000,000K by the time they're up. Like 4K gonna look like Sega Genesis. Well, Reggie, it's your turn now. Tell us what's going on with your Lakers.
First off, now you're going to have that Lil Uzi song stuck in my head for the rest of the day. Good Lord. But this is a day that the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it.
Sound like my mama.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find some sad music here.
Yeah, because the Lakers let me down, man. They had Shaq on TNT the other day calling them we. Shaq said we. He doesn't even talk about the Lakers as we because he's played on so many teams now. And Chuck guaranteed a Lakers win last night. And for what, 3/4 of the night, it looked like it could be the case. This was a classic case of playing with your food. And then the Nuggets all of a sudden woke up. They're like, whoa, we shoot way better than this. All right, let's start knocking them down. So the Lakers play with their food. The Nuggets came and took it and ate it and put the game away. And it was just ridiculous how cold the Lakers went. And LeBron just shooting these threes, missing them. AD's like, you know what, LeBron, I like that. Let me do that too. And he's missing threes. I went on the newscast last night doing sports, and I had to literally calm myself down because I was so upset at what I watched. And when the camera came on me, you know what I did? I put a smile on my face because it was time to do the sports.
Fake it till they make it.
So upset.
You got to fake it till they make it, Reggie. Luke, what are your thoughts on that? On the upset Reggie Wilson and the Los Angeles Lakers.
The Los Angeles Lakers. It's like one of those knockoff jerseys you get from overseas. It's so clear and obvious to me right now. Like the Nuggets' 2 superstar studs are just so much better right now, these last 2 games, than the Lakers' 2 superstar studs. And what Murray did last night in the 4th quarter was just disgusting. He almost doubled what Bron and AD had combined in the 4th quarter alone. And I don't know, Reg. I mean, the Lakers just have no answers to stop him and Jokic right now. And if that's the case, the only way they can steal a few games is fighting fire with fire. That means Bron and AD need to look like the 2020 version that was averaging 60 points a game together. Otherwise, I think this one's going to be over quick. Good news is, even after losing 2, Bron and AD combo, 26-13 together in the playoffs. Now they get to go back to LA. So it ain't over till it's over, Reg. Don't worry.
Here's the thing. Here's the crazy part. They got mad efficiency. They got like 40 from Rui and Reeves.
True.
And then the stars don't show up.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's
man.
tough.
What you got, Sam?
Yeah. The thing about the Nuggets is, and we saw this in the Wolves series, is that Jamal Murray is going to control 1/4 of the game. He's going to turn it on. Maybe it's the 2nd, maybe it's the 3rd, maybe it's the 4th, but he's going to have a moment where he swings the game almost on a nightly basis. That is such a valuable weapon to have. Like, as good as LeBron is, LeBron doesn't have sort of the 3-point shooting prowess to own a moment like Jamal Murray. If he rattles off 3 threes in 2 minutes, that's just a gigantic swing in the game. And that's not LeBron's game. That's not Davis's game. You know who could provide that? A guy who's been a little invisible, D'Lo. Where's D'Lo? You need D'Lo to do something because the Lakers' complementary scoring really hinges on Hachimura, D'Lo, and Reeves. And last night you needed something from D'Lo to get over the hump. I have a hard time believing the Lakers can win 4 out of 5 against the Nuggets. Nuggets are too good. Jokic is just too consistent for them to have a letdown, I think, of that magnitude. So sorry, Reg. I think it's over.
Okay, hold up real quick. Because I'm this guy, right? I just pulled up the 2016 draft. Jamal Murray goes 7. Wolves had the 5th pick. Anybody remember who they took in that draft?
2016
draft. Wolves with the 5th pick. Chris Dunn. How's he doing? Yeah, any good?
Oh.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
I've seen a lot of that, though. It was another one I was going to bring up with you guys. It was another draft pick they were talking about, and I can't remember who, but the Timberwolves made a few. I mean, it's like continuous years. They always miss on a guy that could be the guy. I mean, I'll be quick. I love the Nuggets, FanDuel. I appreciate everything you do. You guys make every moment more, and you're making my Nuggets games. I mean, look at this thing. Money is fun, but it's so hard to like get the money and then your team loses. Like, I see what referees who bet on games feel like now. Like, you're going to win money, but there's like, oh, I'm throwing this game, but hey, I'm winning money though. So like, after this is all over and the Lakers are in Cancun, I'm going to sleep fine because I can go buy drinks for everybody at the bar. But you know, I am just, it's tough. This is tough. I will say the Lakers they do play better at home. The crowd is energetic. They've been in both these games. Like the one, it was a blowout and they came back. And that's why I was scared. And they lost by 6. This one, they lost by 5. So maybe they'll lose by 4 and then 3. And then it's too late. And then it's one time and they're done. You like that? 5, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. But is this thing on? But when you think about,
they're getting punchy.
You think about this team being in the game, though. They have been in the game. I like Draymond Green. Like Draymond Green all of a sudden is a coach from his podcast. But I do like what he said. He said, when you think about the matchups and the switches, he said, honestly, he would put Bron on Jokic. Why? Because they're going to set the pick and roll anyway. And so if they pick or Rory, and then when they set the pick, now Anthony Davis is just waiting for the pick. You leave the 4 open who can't shoot threes. Now, the problem is Aaron Gordon usually comes in and plays a 4 and he can shoot. So you got to kind of figure out, can you close out on Aaron Gordon fast enough? But I like Draymond Green's breakdown. I think the Lakers had something going in the first game. At the end, they kind of figured it out. Second game, they started off hot. I feel like LeBron's missed dunk was kind of the start of like, all right, here we go. Like, because he even said it, like, we could have been up 10. You could have been up 10 at that point. And maybe you could have put the nail in the coffin and you go into a timeout. And you didn't. You got too cute. Just dunk it. You're 6'9", 250, and you're 40. Just dunk it, one hand, quick, run back down the court. You're wasting a lot of energy to like you're wasting too much energy. But before we get into the last one, we're almost out of here, people. Remember, Amazon Fire and Roku. You can download our Locked On Sports Minnesota app on Amazon Fire and Roku. You can get it also on iTunes, iHeartMedia, and the Spotify. Wherever you get it, just subscribe, like, share, and don't forget YouTube. YouTube is one of the greatest places to watch us, and so make sure you do that as well. Fellas, Luke wanted to get a little petty, and he wanted to find out if Jordan loves that guy. I'm going to give you guys some tweets. These are very concerning tweets to me if I'm a Packers fan. QB coach Tom Clement said he originally came back to Green Bay for a chance to win a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. See, why say that? Like, that's like saying, like, I was going to the club looking for my girlfriend, but then I found you, boo, and we getting married now. Like, you don't tell her why you were going to the club. Like, you don't, like, the Packers are literally doing what you don't do. You don't remind your new boo of your old boo.
That happens to Sam all the time, by the way, in the club.
I can't see Sam in the club at all. But when you look at I'm Rick, man. He's excited. He said, but he's still excited to be here with Jordan Love. That sounds like but I mean, I guess I got to do with this kid. It's been gratifying helping a young QB improve again. So whatever, however you want to take that. Here's another one. Jordan Love says, I think I can step up and be a little bit more vocal now that I'm the guy. I'm the guy. Like these are, I feel like he does this in the morning in the mirror, trying to get and then here's another one. He's not going to be able to step out onto the field immediately and light it up. It's going to take some time. What? I literally feel like everybody putting words out there. Jordan Love, you're making Jordan Love feel insecure. You're not giving him the glowing, just because I feel like the Packers almost are like, well, look, if we don't really get behind him right away and he screws up, we don't look bad. If we start glowing about him and making it all about him and how great he is, and he screws up, then we look like a terrible organization. So, Luke, you wanted to say, let me find out Jordan Love is as good as he says he is. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, and Ron, too, to your point, I want to make it clear. I'm not even saying the dude's bad or I know more than anyone else. I'm just saying, how do we know? This man was not good in 2021 in some spot duty, 31 passer grade per PFF. Last year, he only threw 21 passes, 21. I mean, the guy threw one TD pass last year, and I'm just having a hard time here, Ron, figuring out why everyone has just now assumed and crowned this man as the next in line from the Favre, Rodgers cycle in Green Bay. So far in 2 years, he's thrown 3 interceptions and 3 TDs. He's got a 60% completion percentage, and he's 0-1 as a starter. I mean, Sam, Reggie, chirp in here. Am I nuts? What am I missing? Why are people just assuming Jordan Love is the next great Packer quarterback already after seeing such, call it what it is, average play from this man?
What you got, Sam?
Yeah, I am very much going to enjoy watching the Packers have to squirm and wonder whether to commit to this guy beyond 2023 because this is the problem when you hold on to a quarterback for 3 years.
Yeah.
And the rookie contract starts expiring. So they've got him under contract for 2 seasons. So let's say that he does struggle a little bit. That makes sense. He's first time ever as a starter. Let's say he goes 7-10, very 63% passer, 25 touchdowns, 12 picks, very average, and they don't make the playoffs. So then he goes into a contract year. Are they going to extend him? Are they going to just let it expire? Are they going to draft another quarterback of the future? They're just going to be in no man's land. Unless he's really good and can earn an extension, they're going to go into 2024, guys, in a huge quandary. They're not going to know what their quarterback situation is going to look like. So I'm here for it. I'm here for the Packers to have a little instability for once at quarterback, assuming that this guy isn't the next Aaron Rodgers, which I do not think he is.
Reggie.
Here's the thing. If they suck, then they can get a top pick and maybe replace him at quarterback and maybe move forward with the quarterback of the future. But here's the thing. I guess the reason why people maybe assume that he's going to be good is because they took the chance of moving on from a Hall of Fame quarterback who was probably your best chance at going to a Super Bowl. And I understand where Tom Clements is coming from. He's like, look, man, Aaron Rodgers helped take the team to a Super Bowl before. I think he still has it in him. Dang, I came back here. We got love. What's love got to do with it, man? And I think that's the part for me that is interesting. But where I will kind of push back on some of the narrative is the Packers should be trying to offer as much praise as possible. Get his confidence up. Aaron Rodgers' first year as a starter, it wasn't the best. The Aaron Rodgers that we came to know, it took a few years for him to kind of get to that level, to get to that MVP type level. And so you kind of have to give it a little bit of time. Sam, to your point, if you give him a couple years to kind of figure some things out, I think that it was gross malpractice from the Packers not to draft a wide receiver in the first round, not to get him a bona fide number one guy. you like Christian Watson, you think, Romeo Dobbs can improve and all that. Like, get him a bona fide number one guy to just kind of maximize. Like, when you have a receiver that's just dominant, kind of covers up for some of the mistakes because you can just kind of throw it up to him and let him make a play. True. They didn't necessarily set Jordan Love up for success this year. They're like, okay, we're going to play good defense. We're going to run the football and not have to put it on Jordan to make all the plays. That's not really a sound model in this day and age of the NFL. That's like if Jeff Fisher is running your offense.
And to your point, Reggie, the two weapons that they did draft for him, two tight ends, Tucker Kraft, SDSU Jackrabbits, and then Luke Musgraves from Oregon State. Two tight ends, typically what we've been finding out the last 4 or 5 years, tight ends more than any other position take 3, sometimes 4, sometimes 5 years to fully develop. You look at Josh Oliver, who the Vikings just signed, come out as a pass catching tight end. Had to really work on his blocking. Now he's a more well-rounded guy. That took 4 years. Even TJ Hawkinson, it takes a couple years. So to expect a lot of instant success from Jordan Love right away with the weapons around him, to your point, Reggie, I just think I'm just confused about the whole thing. Fun fact about their draft, by the way, did you see they drafted a kicker because Mason Crosby's a free agent? Anders Carlson from Auburn. Does that name sound familiar to anybody?
Daniel
Carlson's brother.
Daniel Carlson's brother.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
Well, we got to put this to bed. We are done with the Packers. We'll see what happens to Jordan Love. He gets to play the Bears, and I hope the Bears, I said this on the podcast with Lauren Screeden and Spice Adams, bear down. Because I would like to see them bear down on the Packers, and then after that, I don't care what they do. But bear down on the Packers. I don't want Jordan Love to be good because then I'm going to have to hear all the Twitter idiots coming after me. Really quick one. You guys got 15 to 20 seconds. I'll put you on a pitch count clock. A pitch clock. That's how we call it. We talked about the West of the Western Conference, right? We haven't talked about the East. And here's my Eastern Conference. Let me find out. Let me find out the Timberwolves could have just kept Jimmy Butler, got rid of everybody else, picked up Kevin Love, and made it to the Western Conference Finals with Jimmy Butler. Do you think that could have been doable if they had moved on from Cat and Wiggins and got as much draft capital as possible, bought Kevin Love back, and then drafted? Because Tyler Hero was taken with the 13th pick in 2019. Timberwolves took Cam Johnson, traded him to the Suns. They could have just drafted Tyler Hero, put him with Jimmy Butler, maybe got Kevin Love to come back to his hometown Timberwolves where he started, and maybe they're in the Eastern Conference Finals. They could have picked up, who knows? They could have picked up maybe the guard, not Bradley Beal, but the other one that played with Bradley Beal. I'm forgetting who's the other guard for the Heat. Number 7. Why am I drawing
Lowry?
Kyle Lowry.
Kyle Lowry. They could have got Mike Lowry. Kyle Lowry. And you don't know who Mike. Do you know who Mike Lowry is, Sam? Mike Lowry.
I know Dean Lowry.
It's in a movie.
Shane Lowry.
It's a movie.
Bad Boys.
Sam.
Bad Boys.
We know Reggie knows the movie. Sam
No,
knows.
I don't
watch movies.
Reggie's
No.
never. Sam's never seen Bad Boys. Yeah, Mike Lowry was Will Smith. But Kyle Lowry, because that's what Jimmy Butler said. He was alluding to the movie Bad Boys because they're gonna ride together. They're gonna die together. They're Heat boys for life. And so we could have just kept Jimmy Butler because clearly he's a winner. I don't know if they would have ever got Anthony Edwards, and so we can't go back butterfly effect. But really quick, 15 seconds, fellas. Do you think that could have been a recipe for success for the Timberwolves if they would have built the team around Jimmy Butler and gotten rid of the guys he didn't like? Luke.
If you're going to build it around anybody, yes, Jimmy Butler is that guard. Arguably, maybe the best player in the NBA during the postseason thus far. Certainly, he's got all the talent. Yeah, why it didn't work out here in Minnesota is beyond frustrating for a lot of Wolves fans.
Sam.
I think if they could do it over again in the trade to acquire Butler, they should have traded Wiggins and kept Levine. If they kept Zach LaVine in that trade, I think LaVine turned out, and Wiggins has had a nice run in Golden State, but LaVine turned out to be a dynamic offensive player, and maybe the chemistry would have been a little better with Butler because I think he was rubbed the wrong way by Wiggins' kind of apathy, and maybe it's different if LaVine's there and not Wiggins.
Oh, Reggie.
Yeah, like because they have so many like dominant personalities in Golden State, it works for Wiggins. But yeah, the whole him and Jimmy Butler thing, like Butler, I could see him getting up in his face like, come on, do you want this or not? Stop breaking these shots. Let's go. And I think what's tough is the investment with don't laugh, Ron. The investment with Cat and Wiggins, I just don't know that you move on from those two players for a guy like Jimmy Butler. But what he's doing in the playoffs, like the dude is just on a heater right now, unlike we've seen. And he's without like some of the better players on the team with the Heat right now. So if you add a guy like that to what the Timberwolves have going on, knowing what we know now, maybe it works out a little bit better.
For those watching on YouTube, I'm sorry for laughing, but when Reggie did that, I just imagine Jimmy Butler doing that to Wiggins and Wiggins just looking at him like, I don't know, Canadian syrup. Like, I just don't feel like Wiggins would have a response. Like, I feel like he would just say like, he would just be like, he'd be like,
rock, paper.
He'd be like, I don't know, Drake, best Canadian rapper ever. Like, he would just like, I just feel like him and Jimmy Butler are like, it doesn't work. It did not work. Oil and water. Exactly, Sam. Like, it did not work at all. I think karl-Anthony Towns is moldable. I feel like he's coachable because Pat Beverly was that like loud, like, get in your face guy, and Cat was just fine with him. But yeah, I think Wiggins was a little soft-skinned, didn't know how to take to tough, like Michael Jordan even said it. He said he would have made Wiggins quit. And so you think about that with guys like that, like Michael Jordan, Jimmy Butler, Pat Bev, guys that are really, really vocal, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, guys that get up in their guy's face. You either take to it or you don't, and Wiggins didn't. I think you're right. Levine, I think karl-Anthony Towns, I think they're moldable clay. I think Jimmy Butler could have got a championship here because they were really good. And now we see playoff Butler. Oh my goodness. I don't know who killed that team. It was the Butler.
And that's our time.
The Butler did it. The Butler did it. Oh man, see, come on now. What game is that though? What I forgot the game. Clue. Yeah. See, the Butler did it. But that'll do it for us today on the Locked On Sports Friday Roundtable. So it's a 60-degree Friday. Gophers softball today. You're gonna see Eastern Conference basketball, and then you got basketball on Saturday. So looking forward to it all, people. Thank you for continuing to join us, like us, share us, comment with us, tweet with us. But I'm Ron Johnson. That's Reggie Wilson. That's Luke Inman. That's Sam Ekstrom. You know what? Why don't you go find out what this Friday is about? And have a good one.